Yo. All right, we live. What's good? What's good? What's good? Good to see everyone. Hope you guys had a good day. I had a pretty good day myself. Got some good work in today. Got a nice little workout in. Catching up on my news. And you guys see the title of the live stream. It's about to happen, man. A lot of us have been waiting for quite some time for Terence Crawford to step up and get some good competition going in the welterweight division. And it's about to go down. So, I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited. And we're going to get this conversation going here just in a little bit. I'm just going to wait for a few more people to drop in. I'm waiting for a couple of people specifically. Naman, what's good, man? What you got for me here? Salute. This might be slightly off topic, but with you being a professional athlete, is it possible to lose fat but not weight? I am. So I have lost weight, but my belly kind of the same. Well, there's a lot of factors in that, brother. Obviously, age, what your training background is, what type of training that you actually do, what your goals are, what your diet's like. There's a lot of things that go into that, man. Leonardo, was good, man. It's good to see you. All right, so just making sure that everything is working, just working out the. What I want to do is, damn it. If you guys know how I like to do these breakdowns, and what I want to do is just talk a little bit about Shawn Porter, get it started with him. And, you guys know I like to just go over the tail of the tape. I like to go over the resume a little bit, just a little bit of a refresher. Side to side, compare and contrast. And then we can talk a little bit about this fight. So from what I know so far, the fight has now obviously been ordered. It was a WBO, WBC. But regardless, it's been ordered to happen. And it's going to be set for November, I saw. And it's going to be a joint pay-per-view with ESPN and Fox. So good news. The good news is finally these two promotional companies are able to coincide and make a deal to make them. For me, I'm glad to see Terence Crawford get ready to make a little bit more noise. Hopefully it's noise if you're a Terence Crawford fan. And it's always a pleasure to see Shawn Porter. For the long time, the welterweight division was one of my favorite divisions, still is, probably always will be. Welterweights and middleweights are usually the cream of the crop for me personally. And a close third would be heavyweights. But yeah, man, I probably relate more so to the welterweights, just based off of weight class and what have you, and the times that I, was in the ring and fighter and as a corner man, I usually worked with that weight class. So I probably have a little bit more familiarity and comfort levels talking about this particular weight class. So those of you who are in the chat, I'll keep you guys waiting. We'll go ahead and all rolling. I'm going to upload this video later anyways. So those who weren't able to watch will be able to come back and watch it. All right. So just real quickly, guys, don't forget while you're here, if you didn't see it, there is a poll going in the chat. Make sure you choose who you think's going to win this fight. Obviously, we got a ways to go. And I know there's probably a lot of you similar to me who, like to wait until we see a little bit more of the training camps. We want to see a little bit how they look and all that stuff. But, for the sake of conversation and having a little bit of fun here, go ahead and vote in the poll. Let me know who you think is going to win this fight. It may change slightly. Normally for me, my intuition usually upholds like 95% of the time. Like when a fight is first announced, I kind of think about it, run it through my head. It doesn't really take me long. I go back sometimes and watch previous fights, but I usually know. And the only thing that may change it is usually how I feel like the fight will end. So I'll choose like one fighter, for example, and I usually stick with that fighter from the very beginning until the end. But I might say, oh, well, originally I thought it'll be a decision, but now I think it's going to be a knockout, something like that. But more or less, I'm usually is usually quite strong, and I'm confident throughout. Now, I'm not particularly a fan of either of these two fighters per se. In the weight division, I'm more of a Spence fan, but I've always enjoyed both of them in the ring, and they're both stylistically very entertaining. Shawn Porter always brings it, no matter who he's up against. He's gonna give it his all. And Terence Crawford obviously is a very skilled fighter, so you're going to get some fireworks regardless. So let me go ahead and roll through here, and let's just tape the tail of the tape with Shawn Porter first, just as a little refresher. So Showtime Porter is 5'7". He's got a 69.5-inch reach, and he's currently 35. He's got 35 fights, and he's 31-3 with 17 KOs. And he won the Golden Gloves champion, gold medal in 2007 as a middleweight. So that's the basic little tail of the tape here. And then we'll scroll down and look at his resume and just kind of, like I said, like a little refresher. Seven. And what did I say? He's got a 69.5 reach. All right. Let's go and look at the resume. So most of we know his most recent fight was back in August of 2020. He beat Sebastian Formella in a unanimous decision. And he won a vacant WBC silver welterweight title. Just to throw that out there for argument's sake. And before that, most of us should know, he had that epic fight against Errol Spence, and he lost that one by split decision. That was back in 2019. He lost the WBC welterweight title in that fight. So a lot of people, and I guess myself too, would say that it was Errol Spence's toughest fight. And Errol Spence didn't perform how we were used to seeing him perform. And I think it's a mixture of two things, in my personal opinion. Number one being Shawn Porter just makes it difficult for anybody. You have to consider the quality of opponent. And also, for some reason, I feel like Errol Spence was trying to prove a point in that fight. For whatever reason, he's trying to prove that he can fight toe-to-toe and he can mix it up with someone like Shawn Porter. And it just made it a kind of difficult fight to judge. And either way, it's a split decision. So it's a close fight. But I think it was a mixture of two things. And just some notable names who he has beat to basically put him in the position to fight someone like Terence Crawford is he beat Yugas, he beat Danny Garcia, he beat Adrian Granados, he beat Andre Berto, he lost to Keith Thurman, and that was like the fight of the year back in 2016. He beat Adrian Broner, thank God. He beat Eric Bone, and he lost to Kell Brook by majority decision. You can keep going down. He beat Paul Malignaggi. He beat Devin Alexander. The Paul Malignaggi fight is something that really sticks out to me. Like the way he beat Paulie, I was like, damn. I mean, and Paulie was kind of on his way out at that point, in my opinion. The Devin Alexander, I think, is a fight that really propelled him up. That's when he won the IBF. But the funny thing is, when you look at this, is the thing about Shawn Porter, right? And this is why that makes this fight interesting. He loses to Kell Brook by majority decision. He loses to Keith Thurman by unanimous decision, and he loses to Earl Spence by split decision. And as I just mentioned, the Keith Thurman fight was the fight of the year in 2016, if I'm not mistaken. So he loses, but he loses in grand fashion. Grand fashion meaning in the positive light, meaning that he gives a great fight and he's a formidable opponent. So that's what his resume looks like, guys. And just like I said, this is just a little refresher for those who may need a refresher. Sometimes I do. I ain't gonna lie. All right, so we got the tail of the tape. We got his record out. Now let's shoot over to touch up on Terence Crawford. All right, here we are. All right, let's look at the tail of the tape. They ain't going to give Terence Crawford a picture? Man, that's fucked up. Someone needs to update that shit. All right. Let's look at Terence here. All right, so Terence Bud Crawford started off at lightweight, went to light welterweight. Now he's at welterweight. Terence is 5'8", with a 74-inch reach. Ooh. That's interesting. 5'8", with a 74-inch reach. So, just a little comparison here. He's an inch taller with almost 5-inch reach advantage. That's saying something. I mean, a 74-inch reach for someone who's 5'8" that's a big ass reach. I didn't even think about that before. I was just mesmerized by his boxing ability. I didn't really think about how much he has to reach, because arguably I would say 73 inches to about 75, 76. Let's say 73 to 76 inch reach could be somebody that's 6 foot tall. So some people are blessed with long ass arms, and obviously Terence Crawford is someone that has long arms, and he's not necessarily that tall, but he's 5'8" with a 74-inch reach. So like I said, inch taller and 4.5-inch reach advantage. So that's something to note. Let's scroll down to the resume just to brush up. Most recently, he beat Kell Brook, TKO, who Shawn Porter lost to by majority decision. So he made quick work of Kell Brook. Let's highlight that. He made quick work of Kell Brook in 2020. Shawn Porter fought him back in 2014. So it wasn't the same Kell Brook. That is the question for the people in the chat. Do you think it's the same Kell Brook? The Kell Brook that fought Shawn Porter in 2014, is he the same as the Kell Brook that fought Terence Crawford in 2020? Because Terence Crawford made some easy work of him, got him out of there in 4 rounds. And Shawn Porter fought to majority decision. So pretty close fight. So I'll leave you guys to answer that and tell me what you guys think about that. So he's got Amir Khan. He's been Benavidez. You got Jeff Horn. Jeff Horn is when he won the WBO. Indigo, Felix Diaz, John Molina, Hank Lundy. Hank Lundy's a good victory. Ray Beltran. He won the WBO lightweight from Ricky Burns. He beat Gamboa. Yeah, we remember Gamboa. I don't know, guys. See, so here's the thing when it comes to Terence Crawford. I think we've seen enough. We've seen enough. So let's get into it. So here's the thing with Terence Crawford for me. At lightweight, I think he's got a pretty good, at lightweight, coming up through the ranks, grabbed 2 titles, grabbed the WBO in the ring. And he's got a pretty good resume at lightweight. I don't got a problem with it. You know, you come up the ranks, you become a champion. He only defended it once, but you beat Ricky Burns, you beat Gamboa, you beat Beltran, you beat Radius Prescott as well. So he's looking pretty good. And then at light welterweight, it's okay. I just see the problem for me is welterweight. For me, in my opinion, he's established at welterweight. Because at welterweight, he's only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fights. And of those fights, in my opinion, the only one that really sticks out to me is maybe Benavidez. That's the only one that really stands out. Okay, so fantastic lightweight, pretty good light welterweight. So he's good at 135, pretty good at 140. So 147, in my opinion, hasn't really proven himself yet. And I think that's like the biggest argument that most people have when it comes to Terence Crawford, is that he hasn't proven himself in the welterweight division yet, which is why we're getting this fight. And I think that Shawn Porter is the perfect person to kind of prove himself against, because Shawn Porter, as we went through, look at welterweight. He's stacked with the people that he's welterweight. Alfonso Gomez, Julio Diaz twice, Devin Alexander, Paulo Malignaggi, Kell Brook. Back in 2001, Kell Brook was recognized as one of the best welterweights. Eric Boone, Adrian Broner, Keith Thurman, Andre Berto, Garcia, Ugas. His welterweight resume is stacked. And as I mentioned before, the losses that he did take were tough, grinded out losses, and was in those fights and has never really been blown out in a fight. He's never taken a devastating KO in any of those fights. He's never been completely outclassed. He's never been blown out. And so I think he's the perfect candidate to jump in there against Terence Crawford. And we're going to learn about Terence Crawford very quickly, because what do we know about Shawn Porter? We know that he's going to be in phenomenal shape. We know that he ain't scared to mix it up. He ain't scared to pressure you. He ain't scared to take a hit to give a hit. And we know he's going to work. Every single round, he's going to be working. And so that's what he's going to bring to the table. Now with Crawford, we know about him being a switch hitter, and he's got fantastic boxing. But the biggest question is, as I just said, is he going to be able to perform well against a really true welterweight? True welterweights is literally Shawn Porter, Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, Earl Spence. These guys are true bona fide welterweights. Crawford, in my opinion, has yet to really assert himself in the welterweight division. So he's not a part of that crowd yet until he beats one of them. So before I continue on, let me check to see what the poll said. What you guys got? So far, we got Crawford 50%, Porter at 33%, and a few people said a draw. Interesting. So I guess what I'm curious about is for those who said, I think I always feel like fight when people say a draw, it's almost a cop out, in my opinion. For me personally, I feel like it's almost a cop, because it's like you gotta pick a winner, man. Unless you really do honestly think that these two guys are so well matched that no one's gonna have an edge in the fight. Otherwise, you gotta pick a winner, man. Gotta pick a winner. It's gonna be interesting. Normally when Terence Crawford fights somebody with a 74-inch reach, I'm gonna be a little bit worried for them. But for some reason, I don't know why I'm not worried for Shawn Porter having the reach disadvantage, because I was used to that. I mean, he's used to probably a lot of his fights at welterweight. I mean, because 69 inches it's not a short reach per se, but I'm pretty sure Keith Thurman had a reach advantage on him. I would bet that you guys probably had a reach advantage on him. I'm guessing a lot of these guys had a reach advantage on him, so I don't think it bothers him too much. I mean, he's used to finding his way to work on the inside. That's his MO. That's what he does. But yeah, guys. So far, the chat is it's quiet right now. I don't know if y'all are just chilling or you're gonna think of who you's gonna win this fight, or maybe you're just waiting for me to give my prediction. Maybe that's what it is. Well, I guess I could give you guys a little VIP action, let you guys know who I think is going to win this fight. I plan to make a video about it, like a proper upload breakdown, like I've always done for all the big fights. I've done it for the Manny Pacquiao fight, Pacquiao Earl Spence, and of course Fury Wilder. And I did it for Canelo and Caleb Plant. Well, I didn't really go in depth with them yet, but I will. What am I doing here? Shawn Porter. Yeah. All right, so if you're in the chat right now, let the record state who you think is going to win this fight, and let me know why. Don't be bashful. But for some real talk, guys, off the top, who do I think is going to win this fight? I don't know, man. To be honest with you, I think this is going to be a tough fight for Terence Crawford, man. I really do. Weight classes do matter. Not saying that I feel Terence Crawford is necessarily like too small for welterweight, but I mean, he's fighting a guy who's been a welterweight for a long time and has fought some of the best fighters in the welterweight division. He's experienced. He's always in shape. He's always fit. His work rate is one of the best in the division. I think he's going to be a problem, man. I really do. And of course, when I look at Terence, I mean, we know the skills that he possesses. And he gets rid of people. He does. He does to crack. But Porter's tough, man. I don't think he's gonna stop Porter, man. I really don't. Not right now. Um, it's a bit too early for me to go that far. But he does have the ability to outpoint, not outwork Porter, but outpoint him. Land cleaner, harder shots. Of course, he can get into the southpaw orthodox. He can switch hit him. He can make it challenging for Porter because Porter, he I don't want to say he's not athletic, but he's not like the most athletic. Like he has athletic ability. Obviously, he's an athlete. Instead, he knows how to cut off the ring. I mean, we saw what he did to Paulo Malignaggi when Paulie was trying to box. I mean, he just tracked him down. He does have athletic ability. He doesn't have Keith Thurman athletic ability, which I would argue that's one of the reasons why Keith had a slight edge over his ability. I mean, he just quicker hand speed, foot movement, and things like that, and work behind the jab. So what I think what would be trouble Porter is if Terence Crawford does use his reach to his advantage and take the pace of the fight behind his jab. Rather he's southpaw or orthodox, whatever he decides to do, whatever his game plan might be. And be patient. You got to be patient with Shawn Porter because if you let Shawn Porter kind of give you, rough, because like rough and tumble, right? He's going to try to rough you up. He's going to bang you around his shoulders, bang you around his elbows. He's going to get his head underneath your chin. He's a little bit shorter than Terence, so he's going to try to get you out of your element and make you uncomfortable. That's what Shawn Porter does. He just doesn't stop. So Terence is going to have to show his versatility and his experience and show that he can work behind his jab and throw the combinations that he wants to throw, and land the cleaner shots. And he's got to do it for 12 rounds because Shawn is going to go 12. Shawn, he has no problem going 12 rounds. I mean, shit. I mean, his resume is full of 12-round fights. So this is just me. I'm just literally just freestyling this shit, just speaking outside the box, giving you guys my thoughts, man. But if I were to choose a fighter right now before I finish this live, I think Terence edges it out, man. I think Terence edges it out. I just feel like he's just got the boxing ability to really dictate the speed. Well, not dictate the speed, but do enough to not allow Porter's work rate to overwhelm him. And I just feel like his hand speed and is very accurate with his punches, man. I mean, he just knows how to line up shots really well. Sometimes Porter, he gets too carried away with just being so lineal. Like he attacks you in lines. He doesn't cut off the ring sometimes. He doesn't use proper head movement. And you don't want Terence to line shots. And what I mean by line up shots is he hits you with the jab and he sits on it and he waits and he times it. And then, he throws in his power. And I don't know if he can really hurt Porter per se. Porter is a very solid welterweight, but I just feel like Crawford's going to edit out in a unanimous decision. But I think it's going to be the type of fight that's really going to send a forecast of Terence Crawford and what his future is going to be like in the welterweight division. And it's going to be a preview to, for what's to come. He's got an opportunity to be the king of the welterweight division. He takes out Spence. He can probably get Thurman next if Thurman wins his next fight. Take care of Thurman, or fight the winner of Pacquiao and Spence. I mean, so really, in a way, Porter's kind of a gatekeeper, and I hate to say that about Porter, man, because I do respect him so much, but he's kind of in that position right now where if he beats Terence Crawford, then he jolts himself right back into position to claim his lost titles and get a rematch possibly with Thurman and mix it up with Spence if Spence gets past Pacquiao. So either way, these two fighters do have a lot to lose. For Porter, he's basically on the edge of he's so close to being one of the best. Well, he is one of the best welterweights, but like being a unified champion, basically. Like Shawn Porter is so close to like being the man. You know what I mean? And he's so close that he can taste it. And so he knows he's got a lot on the line. He knows if he beats someone like Terence, it's going to push him back into position. If he loses to Terence, it's tough. He's going to have to take a few steps back and earn his way back in. But for Terence, if he wins, obviously puts him in himself in a good position. If he loses, people will say he needs to rethink the welterweight division, maybe. I'm not sure what people will say. For me, it depends how he loses. I think that's what matters. Rue Henry, what's good, man? He says, to be honest, I'm going to go with Porter. Yes, Crawford is a bet by far and can outskill him any day, but Porter, I think, is too strong for him. His pressure is going to be way too much. Shaw is going to land. I'm saying, man, I have no problem with that assessment whatsoever. Like I said, man, weight class matter. And when it comes to someone being a bona fide welterweight, Shawn Porter is one of the best representatives of that. So I have literally no problem with that assessment at all. Naman says, I personally think Bud versus Earl would be a better matchup. What's your opinion? No, yeah, it would be stylistically. Two guys who can box, two guys who have good defense, two guys who have excellent boxing IQ. But this is the way boxing works, man. This is the way it works. You got to get somebody like, there's always a Shawn Porter in the history of boxing. It's just that one guy where you're just like, if you're a fighter that has to go against Shawn Porter, you're like, oh man, because it's just gonna be a rumble fight. That he's just gonna be in your face constantly. And he's not gonna ever give you a break. And history is full of those type of fighters. If you go back in the history of boxing, you look at Sugar Ray Robinson when he fought guys like Gene Fullmer and Jake LaMotta and several other guys, Carmen Basilio. Those guys must have been for Robinson. Even though he won majority of those trilogies, I think he fought each of them at least 3 times, if not 4. But they've always just been on his side. You know what I mean? Because they just keep coming and keep coming and keep coming, and they're hard-headed, and you hit them with a fucking 4-piece combination, and they just keep coming. Shawn Porter's like that. You know what I mean? And he's not a guy you really want to fight, but you have to fight him. You got no choice. So he's sitting right there, and he's in the way. He's in the way against somebody like the winner of Spence and Pacquiao. He's in the way of a Keith Thurman. I mean, so you got him. You got to move him out of the way, man. That's what happens with someone like Shawn Porter. Ruth goes on to say, I think he hurt Crawford and bad. Crawford has shown he can get hurt, but he has a big hurt. But these guys in the division is too strong for him. That's what Yeah, like I said, man, I don't have a problem with that assessment. That's a very logical assessment, considering the fact that like he is moving up in weight. He's fighting, like I said, a bona fide welterweight, and it's not gonna be easy, man. It's not gonna be easy, and I'm curious to see if they both sign the dotted line. To be honest with you, I mean, I know that it's been ordered. I know that they're starting negotiations at ESPN and Fox. They're on board to make this happen. But as far as I know, nobody's actually signed a dotted line. But once it's signed, sealed, and delivered and confirmed, there's an actual date. Then I'll be like, okay, it's happening. But right now, it's like we're close to seeing it happen, so we're just chopping it up. Deshawn, what's good, man? Good to see you. Good to see you, bro. So if you're just joining the live stream, man, I went over the tail of the tape. For those of you who don't know, Terence Crawford coming into the fight, believe it or not, does have a little over a 4-inch reach advantage. He's got a 4-inch reach, and Shawn Porter's at about 69.5. So he is coming into the fight with a reach advantage, and he is about an inch taller. So that's what I wanted to double check up on. And we went over the resumes a little bit, and what I pointed out is I feel that Crawford is a very good lightweight, pretty good light welterweight, but not really proven anything in the welterweight division, in my opinion. And really, the only fight that really stuck out to me, well, the disappointing fight, really, not disappointing, but it's not his fault. But they do have one similar opponent, and that is Kell Brook. But the problem is Kell Brook fought. Sorry about that. So Kell Brook fought back in like 2014, and then of course we all know Terence his last fight was Kell Brook back in 2020. So really not the same Kell Brook. He's not really established in welterweight division, but this is his chance. I mean, this is the whole point of this fight, is for Crawford to prove to people that he belongs in the division. In fact, he can win in this division and continue to conquer and chase greatness. Something that every boxer wants to do. Nitty G. What's good, bro? Good to see you in. Who you got in this one? I just double checked the poll. There's a poll in the chat. Make sure you click to see who you think's going to win. Right now, Porter and Crawford's tied. They're tied. 46%. A little 8% said it's going to be a draw. So pretty close. Pretty close. It's a tough fight to call. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. It's a tough one to call, man. Deshawn says, I got Crawford, but I won't be surprised if Porter outworks him. Yeah, it's one of those. It's one of those fights. I said earlier that I think I got, and this is me freestyling. I'm literally just finding out that this fight is pretty much gonna happen. It's not 100%. It's like 95%. So I really haven't given it much thought. So just freestyling. I think that Crawford is going to do enough, just enough. I think he'll do just enough to get a decision. But to be honest with you, I need to think about it a little bit more. I need to go back and watch a few more of Terence's fights. I've been watching Porter for a long time. I'm pretty confident with Shawn Porter, to be honest with you. I know what he brings to the table, but I need to go back and watch the tape. I don't until I actually make, and this is just going live and just chopping it up with the Divine Sense Boxing family. You know what I'm saying? But before I drop an actual prediction video, which I will be held accountable for when it comes to the YTBC, I got to go back and watch a little bit more tape. To be honest with you, and I'll I'll make my final decision. Jaron, what's good, man? Over to see you, Sub Divine. I got Bud by split, but I could see Porter being too much trouble as well for Bud and winning by a close decision. I'm with you. I think that yeah, if Bud can't do just enough to get like a close unanimous or a split, then I can see Porter squeaking one out. I can definitely see Porter squeaking one out. Nitty G says, I have Bud winning this fight, but honestly, I don't even like talking about him because some of his hardcore fan base are delusional and emotional, and it's not even worth the energy. Yeah, I haven't really encountered too many of the diehard Crawford fans yet, but maybe I will. A lot of my time on YouTube has really been talking about, Fury and Wilder. So I'm sure the floodgates will open up soon. Anytime I talk about Pacquiao and Spence, the floodgates open as well. But I think that it's a tougher fight. It's a tough fight that I think some people might not be giving it enough credit, to be honest with you. But to be honest, man, I feel like this is a really tough fight, bro. This is a tough fight, man. And like I mentioned to you guys earlier, if you just joined the live stream, both of these guys have a lot on the line. A lot of it, because for Shawn, he's been on the precipice of like being that dude. You know what I mean? Being that undisputed champion in the welterweight division. He's been close, but he always comes up a little bit short. He's won a title, lose a title, trying to get other titles, and he's just always a little bit short. So for Shawn, he's like, man, this is not my only chance, but my chances are running out. This is the time to do it. I got to beat somebody like Terence to position myself back into the conversation of Keith Thurman and maybe the winner of Pacquiao Spence and shit like that. For Terence, he's been getting a lot of criticism. A lot of people have been criticizing his career up to this point. Great lightweight, okay light welterweight, but at welterweight he ain't really doing shit, right? So he feels the heat. He feels the critics. So he's coming out to prove a point as well. So this fight, man, has a lot behind it. Like if it's actually signed, sealed, and delivered, and we know like this shit's happening, bro, that we got a date and everything, this is a tough fight. I'm telling you. I'm gonna have to rewind the tape. I'm gonna really have to study these two fighters, man, to really give you guys a solid and bold prediction here, which I will do. It'll be a proper upload, and that's the video that I'll be held accountable for. But it comes with the territory, and that's what I do. But not so often. Not I want to say often, but not every time do I feel like, ooh, I gotta go back and watch the tape, man. This is a close one, because normally, like Tyson Fury, Wilder, I'm like, I don't got to think about that shit. I'm like, I mean, I watch some of Wilder's training videos and I see his demeanor. I see what I see the look in his eyes. I'm like, easy. Like I'll put easy money on that. Pacquiao Spence. I had to think about that one a little bit. I had to go back. My main thing with Pacquiao was I wasn't sure when the last time he fought a southpaw. And once I found out that it had been 19 fights ago, I was like, ooh, that's interesting. So, didn't take me that long. Canelo and Plant, maybe a day. Thought about it. But this one, man, it might take me about 3 or 4 days to go back and watch tape, because this is an interesting fight. WJ, bro, what's good, man? Damn. Pop in with the super chat right away, man. I appreciate the support and love. Sometimes I don't talk about topics all the time. So those of you who do, jump over here and listen to the live stream when it's not a hot button topic, man. I appreciate you guys immensely, and it continues to keep me motivated, especially when these super chats come through. So WJ says, I believe Crawford will stop Porter. Ooh. The man said, stop Porter. But that's just my opinion. Exclamation point. Wait, Drew Titan shouted you out on his live today. Oh, for real? Well, let your boy know what he said. What he say? I commented on his previous live stream, and just made a little comment. He replied to me. A lot of people were liking the comment, so we might be into a collaboration, and that's what's up, man. That's what we need out here. We need a collab. Nitty G says, I'm on the record saying Bud is a special fighter with a special skill set, but I've actually been threatened by some of his fans because I said EJ beat him. Shake my head. You gotta get that, man. You gotta get that. I haven't run into the diehard Bud fans, man. But when I drop my prediction video, because I don't know, man. I might not say the right thing about Bud, and they might come at me. But it comes to the territory, as we know. Tom, what's good, man? Tom's my boy, man. Tom's always showing love and respect to the channel. I appreciate you for stopping by. And then he says, it's sad, man, because it's just boxing talk. It's not that serious. And some people take it real serious, man, for some reason. I've never really held it that serious. I've had fighters that I've liked that have lost, and it's life. I come on here, and normally, like, I remember I was supporting David Lemieux, and he was coming up, and I went out on a limb. I don't really do that very often, but I went out on a limb, and I was like, yo, I think he's gonna beat Triple G. Shit, that was a mistake. Triple G fucking stomped that ass. And I was like pretty much the only David Lemieux supporter on the YTBC. Nobody thought he was going to win. I had to come and shit and eat crow, bro. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a good feeling to eat crow. But at the end of the day, I call an ace and a spade a spade. You feel me? It is what it is. The only time I get upset is when there's some like controversial bullshit. Like a decision that I didn't agree with, or some referee bullshit. Other than that, I eat crow if I have to. It doesn't happen very often. I've been known to. Nitty G said, he said you've been around a long time and that you were a good guy. Well, I appreciate that, man. I'm not sure if he had the same channel he has now back when I was doing my thing, or he's under a new name now, or I don't know what the case may be, but that means a lot, man, because I support his content as well. So hopefully he gets back to me and we can make something happen. Trick Boxer, bro, what's good, man? Good to see you. I think I like Bud, but this is the toughest fight at 147. Let's see what he got. I love it. I like this fight a lot too. Man. I think this is Terence's like real big test. We see this in boxing, right? You see a promising fighter win some championships, and everyone starts asking the question, is this the next one? And what I want to say to that is, do you guys remember when people were saying that about Adrian Broner? I mean, there was a time when Adrian Broner, I think he won 3 titles in 3 different weight classes, and people were trying to say he weather. You guys remember that shit? And then we know what happened later on when he started taking some L's. So either Terence is going to be like this new Broner, but actually prevail and show people that I am legit, or in my opinion, it's going to be another Adrian Broner. And I'm not comparing them as like fighters per se, because I think Terence is on another level, but I'm saying career path. I'm saying what the critics say, what the critics look, and that's what they'll bring up. So I just wanted to throw that out there. WJ says, Divine Sin, someone asked Drew if he knew about you, and Drew said that he does know you, who you are, and you are a good dude. He respect. Mention having you on the show. Yeah, bro. Like, I hope so, man. Hope he hits me up. It's just so hard to get in contact with channels nowadays, man. YouTube make that shit hard. Got to go through like social media and shit. And a lot of these dudes don't even like read their fucking messages. I mean, I'm not hating because I hardly read messages as well, like especially on my private accounts. Because these females out here, man, you gotta protect your shit out here, bro. So I get it. It's just unfortunate that we connect here on YouTube. There's Juan says, I got Crawford, but I'm worried how long Crawford has been out of the ring. Yeah, that's a good point too. But Shawn Porter hasn't fought until August of last year as well, to be fair. So Shawn Porter's coming up on a year. Next month will be a year for Shawn Porter. So yeah. So no more people coming into the chat now. And I see the poll moving along. So all of a sudden, Crawford jumped up in front now. So Crawford's at 59%, Porter at 36%. About it was tied. So Crawford's jumped ahead now. Let's see if that changes here in the next 20 minutes or so that I'm going to be on live. Tom says, Shawn punches too wide, in my opinion. There will be plenty of opportunity for the KO for Crawford. He will statement since Shawn has never been stopped. That's deep. That's deep from my boy Tom right there. Like I said, like when it comes to Terence, he's got a lot to fight for here, because he's been getting a lot of criticism. And if he is the guy to stop Porter, that's huge. That is huge. And he automatically catapults himself in the conversations with Thurman. If Thurman gets by in his next fight, it catapults him in the winner conversation of Spence and Pacquiao, because the Spence and Pacquiao fight will be done by the time Porter and Crawford fight. So keep that in mind. So whoever wins Pacquiao Spence, I think that's the next move, in my opinion. The winner of this fight will go Pacquiao Spence. Trick says, I want to see Bud show his worth, and this is the way to start. Facts. Yep. Black Superman. I always appreciate you stopping by, bro. What up, bro? I got Crawford winning in a brutal 12-round split decision. Porter is going to be all over him. Bud better fight smart or he may get upset. Yeah, that's pretty much what I said early in the stream. Is I said that we know what Porter brings to the table, like straight up. For me, I have to go back to Crawford's previous fights more than I do have to on Porter's fights. When I go and investigate these two fights and really give you guys a proper breakdown, proper prediction, which I will upload. And because me, I know what Porter brings. He's an engine. He's going to come and he's going to come and he's going to come. We know he's durable. We know he's always in shape. We know he's ready for 12 rounds. We know that he's used to being a fighter that is at a disadvantage when it comes to reach. So he's working his way to the inside. And so I know what Porter brings, but for Bud, I have to go back a little bit more, and I'm gonna have to watch some fights of his again to really be confident, because this is going to be a tough fight for Terence. I ain't gonna lie to you, it's going to be a tough one. But like Tom pointed out, if he pulls it off, especially if he knocks out Porter, that is huge. Gary Cumbo, what's good, man? I see Crawford outboxing him, but no, in this fight, it will be Crawford's toughest fight. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good with that assessment, man. I got no problem with that whatsoever. And as you can see, man, in the chat, I mean, it's people are torn, man, between this, because it's really a situation of where styles makes fights. That's what makes this fight interesting. Manga says, I got Crawford via split. I got a lot of people saying split. A lot of you guys are saying split decision. Is that because you think it's just going to be a close fight, or do you think there's a coincidence with Shawn Porter always being in close fights? And all of his losses have been split decisions, close unanimous decisions, or Madi decisions. When he lost to Kell Brook, that was a majority. When he lost to Keith Thurman, but the Keith Thurman fight was actually the fight of the year back in 2016. And then when he lost to Spence, that was a split decision. So maybe it's just a coincidence why you guys are all picking split decision. Because Porter does have a reputation of being in close fights. Dejuan says Shawn Porter down by Adrian Broner. So I can see Crawford dropping Porter while he is timing him coming in. Yeah, he can be dropped. But to finish Shawn Porter, man, that's tough to bet on. That's very, very tough to bet. Anybody can fight. Anybody can get knocked down. When you get to this level, anybody can get knocked down. But the thing is Shawn Porter he's always in such great shape. And we all know what happened in results of that fight. He came back and won that fight against Adrian. And Adrian's not Terence Crawford, obviously, but still, the dude is, when any fighter gets knocked down and gets back up, 9 times out of 10, it's due to their fitness, their ability to still have their legs to stand back up. And it takes a lot of energy, believe it or not, to pick yourself up off a canvas when, especially depending on what round it is. If you're in the fucking 10th round and you get knocked down, it takes a lot of energy to get back up on your feet, and only have less than 10 seconds to do it. Trick says, if Porter fight in a similar way that he did Spence and put that on Bud, hit Bud with some of them hard shots, and Bud can stand it up for 12 rounds. Bud been put down a few times now. Yeah. I mean, for me, if it's down to a game plan from Shawn Porter, it's simple: pressure, 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 pressure. The only thing that I would advise, if I'm Shawn Porter's dad, is like, say, hey, we can't just come in straight lines. We got to use some head movements. We gotta have a good defense, because Crawford will line your ass up. He will line you up quick, and if you give him open opportunities, he will capitalize. And I saw someone over here say that, like he swings wild sometimes and wide. He does, especially when sometimes Porter, man, he gets a little bit agitated, I think. When things are not going his way, he gets a little bit agitated and he starts swinging a little bit wild. And that's why I said for Crawford, it's extremely important to stay composed and patient in this fight. You can't allow Porter to be too much of a rough and tumble fighter and keep you from getting comfortable, because then you're in trouble. A Brown servant says, Bud is a monster, but I'm going for Showtime because he's an underdog in this fight. Respect, going for the underdog. Rich, Porter can be dropped. I don't know about finished. I agree. I agree, Rich. Yo, Drew Titan, bro, what's good, man? Thanks for dropping by. Yeah, man. Some of my subscribers here earlier were saying that you gave me a little shout out on your live stream. I appreciate that, bro. I'm glad that we have similar subscribers and a very similar and powerful voice. And like I've been telling a lot of my subscribers the past few days, bro, like it'd be good to collaborate with you and chop it up about whatever, man. I'm down for whatever. So if you want to conduct it on your channel or my channel, but I think it'll be good for the community, man. Like I tell my subscribers all the time that for me, over Von since boxing, it's like family. We're like family out here, and we like to, keep the message powerful, man. We're the minority here a lot of times, especially when we're talking about Tyson Fury. we seriously the minority out here. So we got to stick together, man, and keep the voice strong. You know what I mean? So I would love to collaborate with you sometime / co-host. And I think we can bring a lot of people together. Real talk. I really do. Says, I really don't know because we've never really seen Buck up against somebody like Porter, if you ask me. 100%. So if you go back and listen to what I said earlier when I first started this live stream, is that Porter is a bona fide welterweight. Like literally. I mean, his size, the fact that his resume is an abundance of fighting the best in the division. So not only is his size and his frame a real welterweight, but also his experience is a real welterweight. Like he hasn't bounced around the weight classes as much as Bud has. So if Bud pulls this off, I mean, he literally proves to all the haters or his haters or the doubters or the critics that he's just that special. He doesn't have to spend time in weight classes. He can just come into a weight class and knock down the top fighters in those weight classes and take the belts and keep it moving. If he beats Shawn Porter, he makes an excellent claim at that. Drew says, hit my gram. All right, bro. Bet. What is it? Is it just Drew Titan on the gram? Because I'll follow you right now, bro. Because I might forget. All right, cool, bro. Yeah, I see you, man. Drew Titan. That's what's up. So, all right, cool, bro. I just followed you, and just sent you a little quick message. All right, bro. So yeah, man, make it happen. The people have been clamoring for it, bro. We got to make it happen. Trick goes on to say the question is Bud can beat Porter. Porter has fought all the top welterweight, won some and lost some by a needle. Exactly. Exactly. It literally like 3 fights that he's lost. Majority decision loss to Kell Brook back in 2004. I want to remind people that in 2004, Kell Brook was, one of the best welterweights at that time. Then fight of the year against Keith Thurman, he lost by a UD. And then, of course, we all know the Earl Spence fight. He lost by a split decision again. So literally by the skin of his teeth, he's lost fights. He hasn't been knocked out. He hasn't been totally outclassed. He hasn't totally been outworked. So you're dealing with the guy who, he's ready. He's ready for the spotlight. He's like, bring it. Shit, you want to come in here with the big dogs in the welterweight division because this is the big dogs, not a beat up Kell Brook. No disrespect, but Terence Crawford fought Kell Brook 7 years after Shawn Porter fought him. So we're not talking about a beat up Kell Brook. We're talking about the top dogs in the division, and that is Shawn Porter, Keith Thurman, Earl Spence, and Danny Garcia. In my opinion, that's the 4 kings right there in the welterweight division, and you jumping right into the round table to take one of those dudes on. So, like I said, man, if he pulls it off, I hate to say it, but Crawford haters got to eat crow. Y'all got to eat crow, especially if he knocks out Porter. Especially if he knocks. My question for the chat is, and this is something that I have to research and think about, do you think Crawford is going to stay mostly southpaw, conventional, switch it up often? What do you guys think? Do you think, he's going to freestyle it and feel it out? Let me know what you think about that, because that's an interesting question. Hey, yo, Radio was good, bro. Thanks for stopping by once again. I know you were in the live stream earlier last night, so I appreciate you getting back again, man. Trick says he sees the upset coming, so you heard it. You heard it from Trick. All right, let me check the poll again one more time, see where it's at. Crawford still on top. The people are speaking. The people got Crawford on top so far. We'll see what the poll ends when it's all said and done. Probably going to go another 10 minutes, guys. So just a heads up. But I appreciate you guys coming in, leaving your thoughts, because to be honest with you, man, when I sit down and I plan out my prediction / breakdown videos, I look at a lot of different things, a lot of variables. I take it seriously. For me, it's a serious thing. I don't just like, oh, let me just make a video just to get views. Like, my word is my bond. You know what I mean? And when I make predictions, I live by those predictions. When I'm right, I come out and say, I did it again. Your boy Divine got it right again. That's what I do. And if I get it wrong, I come on here and eat crow. So I'm very competitive, and I don't eat crow. I take this shit seriously. So when I come out and I drop my prediction, I take it seriously. And you guys coming in here live chat, giving me your thoughts, does go a long way. It gives me something else to think about, see what the people are thinking, where they're leaning. You know what I mean? Doesn't necessarily sway me one way or the other, but it does does give me something to think about. So I do appreciate all the guys. It does mean a lot. Ayo says, I think he's going to freestyle it. Porter's not going to give him enough space to think too much. Yeah. I mean, Porter, that's his whole, that's his style. That's what he did. He knows that if I can keep my opponent uncomfortable, I got a chance. And the perfect example, the relentlessness of Porter is in the Paula Malignaggi fight for me. I mean, I know he's done it multiple times, but I mean, he just destroyed Paulie. Paulie literally thought, I'm going to go in there and just and box, you know? And he ran into some serious because Porter was just in his face, tracking him down like the fucking Terminator in that fight. Now is Paulie a Terence Crawford? No. But effective pressure is pressure nonetheless. If you're able to work on the inside and get in those body shots and not allow a Terence Crawford to work, you got a chance to win the fight. And like I said earlier, Terence Crawford, see, he's different than Errol Spence in one. Earl can fight on the inside, in my opinion. Now, I think Terence can fight on the inside too, don't get me wrong. But Terence likes to line up shots. And what I mean by line up is he puts his jab out there and he's got this. Go back and watch his fights. He puts a jab out there and he kind of locks the jab in place. Like he doesn't like just shoot it out real quick. He shoots it out, he lands it, and he kind of locks it in, and he lines up his power shot, and he throws it down the pipe, and he puts intention behind it. You know what I mean? And that's going to be hard against someone like Shawn Porter, who's constantly, he'll take your jab, and he just keep moving forward. It's hard to line up a shot. So Terence will have to go to play. He at some point in the fight, he's going to have to work on the inside. He ain't going to have a choice. Trick Boxing says it's a reason why he ain't been fought. Porter, he the one that had to be made fight Porter. Remember, y'all, Porter been asking for Crawford be on standby. Y'all remember Bud saying that. Facts. TS, what's good, man? Good to see you in the chat. Hope you good, bro. TS says Paulie got bulldozed by Porter. For real. And to be honest with you, man, I thought Paulie was going to do at least a little bit better, because here's the thing. That's actually Paulie's fight. You know what I mean? He's known and he likes to be known to be the guy to be the matador and control the bull. I'm going to box. I'm going to be smooth. I'm going to do my thing. And he just got tracked down like the fucking Terminator, bro, like straight up. I don't know what happened to Paulie, man. Like a lot of people don't like him or whatever because, he's, similar to Mayweather in the sense, I mean, he was never pretty boy Mayweather, but in the sense that, he never knocked anybody out. So people don't find him entertaining and he's always moving and jabbing and boxing and what have you. But when you look at his earlier career, man, I mean, Paulie was nice. Paulie, the Magic Man. You guys remember that shit? But I mean, he was nice. Went back when he had a fight like Miguel Cotto, when Miguel Cotto was young and tough and solid. And then, I mean, he just did a nosedive, man. He just fell apart. And I thought at any point in his career where he should really win, like a fight that you just got to win this fight, because if you don't win this fight, this shit will haunt you for the rest of your life, is Adrian Broner. And it's so funny that we're now talking about Paulie, because I literally went back and was watching some old press conference between Paulie and Broner. That shit was fucking entertaining, man. When Broner was like, yo, I fucked your girl, Jessica. I fucked Jessica. And then Paulie was like, nah, man, that ain't my chick, bro. That's my side chick. That shit was crazy ass press conference. But for real though, if that was one fight that you just gotta win after all of that shit Broner said, Man. And he couldn't pull it off, man. Couldn't do it. I think that was the end of Paulie, if you ask me. Uh, Black Superman said, Paul Order beat Paulie so bad that Paulie cried and said that everyone was on roids. Yeah. And there was another fight. What fight was Baby Bull Diaz or something like that, where he accused everyone in boxing to be corrupt and the judges were corrupt. And yeah, that dude's a character. That dude's a character. Don't talk about a side piece, bro. That shit is funny, bro. That shit had me, man. Whenever you guys are bored one day, just chilling, go back and watch the press conference on Paulie and Broner, man. I miss press conferences like that, man. We don't see press conferences like that anymore, especially in fucking COVID times. But for real, man, like that press conference was fucking hilarious. And they did like 4 or 5 press conferences. And every single one was just hilarious. Was it Broder's like, hey, I just want to give a shout out to my best friend, Jessica. We're really close. She's like my best friend and everything like that. And, I want to make sure I win this victory for her, after she left Paulie, because she said that Paulie wasn't hitting it right. We became close friends. Shit. Oh, Krentz Cobbs, bro. What's good, man? Good to see you in the chat. I've been waiting for you to drop by, bro. What's good, man? You your grub in you, got your lunch in you, coming on YouTube, catching up on the news. What's good, bro? I understand why most people want to see the fight. So they have a measuring rod where Bud stands in comparison to, but I think you should have bought new gas for the belt. Word up. And then had an undisputed fight with the winner of Pacquiao and Spence. I respect that. I think that, in my opinion, the way this is panning out is the winner of, you get Pacquiao Spence in August, right? So that we'll know who that is. And then we'll get this fight. And I think this fight is going to finish Pacquiao Spence. I think that's what's going to happen. Now, I'm not sure. Does anybody know when Thurman's planning to fight? Is he fighting you? Oh, I heard something about that. So he may be in like October-ish or something like that. So we may have potential like 3 welterweight winners who are all top dogs, winning around the same time of the year. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything popping up. So if you guys know if Keith Thurman's going to fight later this year, I heard there was rumblings, but I don't know if it's actually happening for sure. But potentially, you could have Thurman winning, you can have Spencer Pacquiao winning, and you got this fight. So 3-headed dragon right there. And that's what's up, because welterweight division is one of my favorite divisions, as I mentioned when I first came out here. I've always been a fan of the welterweight division because I've always kind of related to the welterweight division. And when I worked as a cornerman for different fighters in my history, I've always worked with welterweights and a few times middleweights. Yeah, I heard he's in negotiations. Yeah, that's what I heard too. So, well, there you go, Krentz. So basically, we potentially could have a little round robin at the welterweight division. Maybe they can do something like they did the middleweight division back in the day with Andre Ward and those guys were fighting. That'd be cool too. Trick says to WJ, I like Bud, but Bud be tripping on the opportunities to really be great, beat the best, and be the best. That's been the biggest complaint, man. But look, this is his opportunity now, Trick. His opportunity now is to beat Spence, hopefully in convincing fashion. And if you win by UD, that's fine too. But make it convincing, and then it's only on and upwards from there. Because like I said, Thurman will probably fight by the end of the year, and then you got the winner of Pacquiao Spence. So literally, it's like the world is his oyster, man. And I think like he hears the critics, man. He knows what people are criticizing him for. He knows that he hasn't fought any of the four kings that I mentioned in the welterweight division. To really have any respect, at least in the welterweight division, is you got to fight Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, or Earl Spence, or Shawn Porter. Simple as that. What's up, Christian? When will you release your full breakdown of Canelo versus Plant? Good question. Probably. So we got Earl Spence Pacquiao. I might make one more of that one in the next couple weeks. Then I'm gonna make an official breakdown about this fight, Shawn Porter and Terence Crawford. But I probably won't do that in 100% sealed and delivered. And so Canelo Plant, I don't know, man. By the end of the month, I guess. Maybe this weekend. Yeah, I mean, for me, like, to be honest, when it comes to like actual like full breakdowns and predictions and uploads, like it's a lot of work on my end to be first off is like finding the right time because I'm traveling right now. If you guys seen my previous videos, I have like a that's like all soundproofed and stuff like that, but I'm not there. I'm traveling, so it's like I got to set up a camera and like make sure that all that stuff's good, and then I got to edit it, and then it puts a lot more work. It's easier for me to jump on live, but I should be able to do it by this weekend. Canelo Plant. Yeah, I can do that. I'm pretty confident who I got in that fight. What is Crawford going to do about his contract with Top Rank? Is he fighting Porter under Top Rank? I think he is. I heard that the fight is going to be a co-promotion between ESPN and so PBC. Or I read something that Bob Arum has been asked to help promote it. I did read something about that earlier today. Jim, what's good, man? Good to see you in the chat. You got to give Bud the benefit of the doubt because he ain't never ducked no smoke. I think we will see who he truly is after his contract is done after this last fight. That's all. That's actually a good point by Prince Cobbs right there because, he could essentially be doing what he's told to do. And when you're involved in a contract and you got promoters and shit, you can't always move the way you want to move. And I know as boxing fans, we don't like to hear that as an excuse. That's just the reality of the politics of boxing. And we don't know, right? He may be itching to fight Spence and fight Porter and fight Thurman and fight possibly Pacquiao. He may be, really wanting to can't do it because of him being under the banner of a contract. So that's a good point by that's a good point by Prince Cobbs right there. He gets through this fight, which has been ordered, right? This fight has been ordered. We've heard all that news, right? So this isn't something that just out of thin air. This fight was actually ordered. So he does it. He's free of his contract, and we may see a different Terence Crawford. To be honest, we may see him move much different, talk much different, act much different, because the politics of boxing is no joke, man. Real talk. Very few fighters are. I'm not sure if brave enough is the right word, but very few fighters have the courage to really speak and do as they feel when they're under contract and with promoters and stuff like that. So yeah, that's an interesting point. Christian says, "What are your thoughts if Canelo ever fights Demetrius Andre? Do you think wins that fight? Who do you think wins that fight?" Good question. I like Andre. Canelo's just hard to beat, man. At 168, right? I mean, he's grown like into that weight. He's strong at that weight. I feel like I want to see if he actually I want to see how he does it against Plant, to be honest. Like if he wins, how does he win? Does he win convincingly? Does he have trouble with Plant? Then I would be a bit more confident to answer that question. But I will say this. I didn't like how Canelo treated Andre in the press conference in his last. That's just my personal opinion. The whole I don't speak English, and all of a sudden you're speaking English and you're telling Andre to fuck off and fuck off. When Andre's just doing what any prospect or contender does, and try to make a name for himself and just ask him a simple question. And Canelo got all offensive and started talking shit. I just don't like when fighters conduct themselves because this is a gentleman's sport, or it should be. And that's why I was never a fan of Broner, because Broner's he's just too ridiculous. I mean, there was a time where I liked Broner when he was winning, when he won a couple titles and he was moving up from lightweight. And he was humble, but money was a factor, I think, when it comes to Adrian Broner. And I'm not sure if that's the case with Canelo, like fame and money and popularity, where they all of a sudden they lose the respect for the sport and their fellow fighters. So I will say that. But as far as the fight is concerned, I'm not confident to speak about it quite yet until I see how Canelo looks against Plant. Facts. I don't understand why Bud made the decision to sign with Top Rank. Yeah, I never agree with that decision either. I just don't like Top Rank, period. Period. Canelo avoids Andre for some reason. He kind of does, right? He kind of does. I mean, that's my point with fame and money, right? You get into a position. Mayweather did it too. When there were fighters that were there was a time where, think about it this way, there was a time where Earl Spence was at where Andre is at right now. So, when Spence was trying to call out Mayweather, and he didn't quite name for himself, and Mayweather, some would say that he avoided that fight. Andre's is similar. He hasn't quite been up there, and Canelo is up there. So Canelo's like, you ain't on my level, bro. What the fuck you doing here? So, yeah. What's up, Hawker? The fuck you talking about AB posters? I never had AB posters, bro. I know you missed me, Hawker. Thanks for taking the time out of your day, Hawker. I know you can't resist anytime Divine Sense goes live. What do you think Billy Joe did wrong in his fight? I think Billy Joe Saunders didn't establish his jab. He just let Canelo come forward with little to no resistance. Uh, I think you hit the nail on the head there, bro. To be completely honest with you, I thought that Billy Joe was going to do much better. I have a lot of fans, not a lot of fans. I have a lot of friends who are from the UK who are big Billy Joe Saunders fans, and they almost had me believing for a second. They almost had me convinced that Billy Joe was going to pull it off. But anytime anybody goes against Canelo, it's kind of like anybody who goes against Pacquiao. I'm always like, I don't know, man. I mean, Canelo and Pacquiao are very similar when you look at like how a lot of people bet against them, but they still figure out a way to win. You know what I mean? And yeah, so I wasn't convinced, but almost convinced that Saunders was going to pull it off. But I did think that he was going to do better. And yeah, he had a I don't know if that was his game plan or Canelo took his game plan away, but he had a fucking weird game plan in that fight. Like that's not the way you want to fight Canelo. That's for damn sure. Um, the only person who can fight that kind of fight with Canelo is like Triple G, you know. But Saunders should have stuck to what he's good at and what his bread and butter is. He should have fought Canelo the way he fought David Lemieux. That's how Billy Joe should have fought. Uh, um, I think Canelo's an all-around better fighter than Lemieux, but they're both similar size. They're both similar reach. The only thing that's different is Canelo a bit more well-rounded, and he's probably a better counterpuncher. But I think if he would have worked, like you said, worked behind his jab, moved and moved his feet and boxed, he would have had a much better chance. And there were moments when he did it, and it seemed like, okay, there you go. There's your groove. And then all of a sudden, he's like in a Philly shell defense, like trying to like work on the inside. And it's like, bro, what are you doing? You don't fight Canelo like that. Like he has you right where you want him. But yeah, let's talk fighting. What's good, bro? How you doing today? Hey, how's life treating you, man? Thanks for stopping by. So yeah, guys, that's my thoughts about this fight. I don't think it's 100% established. I think it's about 95. I think they're still trying to pick a date. I think there's a few little promotional issues that they're trying to work through. But I think it's going to happen. From what I heard, it's November is the target month. Hopefully, it's early November. And as it kind of inches a little bit closer, as I said, I'll make an official breakdown slash prediction video. As Christian pointed out, I still owe the subscribers official prediction of Canelo and Plant. I will probably do a rebuttal on Spence and Pacquiao because it is inching closer. We're a little bit less than a month away before that fight. And so I have a lot of video uploads that I need to accomplish. Let's fight. Says Billy Joe lost most of the rounds against Canelo. He walks down everyone. Some of them commentators had Billy Joe up on the cards. Really? I don't remember hearing that. Yeah, you don't want to be fighting Canelo. Like if you're not an inside fighter and have very good defense and counter punching ability on the inside, like a Triple G does, Canelo's very difficult to beat, man. I lean towards Crawford. but it's going to be a hell of a fight. Pretty much every person that has came to the chat today has said they think it's going to be a really tough fight. It's going to be Crawford's stiffest challenge up to date. And even for Porter, it's going to be a challenge. But at the same time, it doesn't really matter if you think this is his biggest challenge or not. Porter has a lot to win in this fight. You know, by beating Terence Crawford, he puts himself right back in position to get his rematch against Thurman, to possibly fight the winner of Pacquiao Spence. So a lot is on the line in this fight. A lot. Quick question, Divine. How come live of yours that I watch have been set to private? I just like to I don't want to overwhelm my channel with a bunch of lives. You know, a lot of my lives, man, go like 2.5 hours long. And I just don't get very good viewership when my videos, my lives are that long. So lives for me is kind of like on the spot. You know what I mean? It's an opportunity for people to jump in and have a conversation. Opportunity for people to send super chats if they want. Sometimes I keep it uploaded. Like if the live stream is really like if if it gets heated and it's controversial and there's a lot of good content coming through, I keep it up. But it's private, so I haven't like deleted it. I may release it later. I'm not sure yet, but yeah, this whole live thing to me, to be honest, is still new to me. Like, you know, I'm old school. I'm just used to uploading videos and like that's it. So this live thing, I'm still trying to like, you know, perfect it and try to get it in a position to where it works well for the channel. But also it could be because connection issues. Sometimes when I go back and play it, the audio is very choppy or the video isn't smooth. Things like that. Little things like that hurts your viewership, and it hurts like people actually gonna sit through a 2 hour replay of a live stream. So it's reasons like that why I keep it private. Freddie, what's good, man? You caught the end of the live stream. Sometimes, Freddie, bro, you catch me right on time. Freddie says Crawford wins easy. And on that note, let me check the poll, see where the poll's at. Wow, Crawford's really jumped ahead now. At one point in the live stream, guys, was tied. The poll was tied. And Crawford has now jumped up to a pretty healthy lead at 63%. Wow. Wow. Okay. Okay. Damn. I thought Porter would get a little bit more credit. Solid welterweight we're talking about right here. Yo, Hawker, Bubbles new channel is called Fight Film now. Good old Bubbles. He's a character. I don't know if I have the patience to deal with him, to be honest, bro. I hate to, and I am a man of great patience, let me tell you. I can deal with a lot of shit, but that's one man that I don't know if I can deal with. Bear with me, guys. I'm just trying to our boy Drew Titan here make this collab happen. All right. Let's all right, guys. So last few comments I'm gonna read here. I'm gonna roll out. If Bud cannot get into too many firefights with Porter and stay on the outside, I think he gets a decision. But Porter's game as a Badger, and that's easier said than done. Yeah, fair assessment. But look, guys, I appreciate all the comments, man. I appreciate all the little extra things that I have to think about before I drop my official prediction video. It will come, I promise you. I may come on live and talk about this fight a little bit more. Who knows what happens out here? One thing I do want to say before I leave, I almost forgot, is within the next day, probably by tonight for you guys, tomorrow morning, the latest, I'm going to post on my channel on the community section, where you guys see polls and stuff like that. And I'm going to update you guys on the exact times that I will go live every single day. So hopefully that'll give everyone a heads up, and that'll give everyone an opportunity to, schedule it in and plan it. All right, Divine's going to be on at this time. I want to make sure I stop by, et cetera, et cetera. I've been pretty consistent without it being scheduled. Go ahead and schedule it for you guys so we can, like I said, just have something to pencil in. You know what I mean? And what I'm leaning towards right now is one live in the morning and one live at night. So, yeah. Just want to let you guys know that. So, make sure you guys keep an eye out for that announcement probably tonight for you guys. But yeah, man, I'm going to go ahead and roll out. It's late where I'm at, so time to get some sleep. Got to wake up, be fresh tomorrow. You know what I mean? Got to put work in at the gym, all that good stuff. And yeah, man, it's been good, guys. Really, a lot of good insight today for me to think about. Go back to the drawing board as I prepare for this prediction and other videos. As always, coming back at you, man. And yeah, so hopefully you guys smash that like button, man. I'll leave a few little moments here before I actually shut down the studio. Make sure you guys smash that like button, man. It does mean a lot. Every like does matter. I appreciate you guys' support, and I'm out.